was raised as a Catholic, but I wouldn't really describe myself as religious today. I had never heard of things like megachurches or televangelism or the prosperity gospel. That was until I stumbled across an infamous interview.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial.
You've got this journalist that is confronting this guy called Kenneth Copeland.
You said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do.
Oh man. So there's something I definitely want to talk to you guys about today. And I definitely want to share my own thoughts and my own opinion on this because it's kind of a topic and I'm seeing it kind of blow up. And I've seen it for a while. I just kind of chose not to really kind of discuss it with you guys because I want to kind of dig into it some more. And I want to I'm setting up something for the future because we're going to come back to this, but some more sources in mind. But there is definitely, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I have noticed there has been a huge increase of millionaire pastors, ministers of the church, multimillionaires, book deals, podcasts, celebrities, TV cameos, talk show. Like it is just blown up. And I don't know how I feel about that. And I could be wrong and I could be right. I don't know. And I just figured this is something on my mind and I'm curious to know what you guys think. And I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to speak my mind, speak my opinion, and then open it up to the masses and see what you guys have to say because I'm curious. But there's a lot to dive into. So let's get into it. Before we get started, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. Welcome to the Comfort and Chaos community. If you're new, hey, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. The support definitely goes a long way. It's very much appreciated. And of course, guys, hit the links down below. Check on me, hit my Instagram. And then, of course, there's some Chaos Shop down below. Get yourself some cool merch, kind of like the stuff that you see me wearing on my videos. So let me knock out this. So you guys are going to notice it's a different studio. All right. I'm a senior leader in the military, guys. I am in the military. So now I am on orders and I have to report to a new duty station. I'm PCSing. So right now the studio is being packed up and getting ready to be boxed up and shipped out. So get used to some of these impromptu kind of videos because I still want to get my thoughts out there and I still want to put some content out there for you guys. And the mission there doesn't stop. So we just adapt. I appreciate your patience and understanding. And I'm not going to waste no more of your time. So let's get into this. Okay, so what I really want to discuss today is what triggered this. I was scrolling on YouTube and I saw the Impaulsive podcast. Logan Paul interviewed Joel Osteen. All right. And the video was particularly on Drewski, who did a parody on basically these pastors of these megachurches. And it really painted a bad picture of them. I'm not going to lie. You know, you watch the bit, it painted a bad picture, but at the same time, it also was kind of accurate though. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure you can look up all the YouTube videos on some of these mega church guys and just some of the craziness they're involved in. These private jets, these fancy cars, fancy suits, book deals. They're really built up as celebrities. And it got me thinking because I'm a man of faith. I'll put it out there. I am a man of faith and my faith is very important to me. And I also know my upbringing in the faith. And I'm not a religious man, but I am a man of faith. I believe in God. And, you know, I also grew up in that world. So I know a lot about it. I read the Bible multiple times since I was a kid. And I know a lot of stuff. And I don't really dive into these kind of videos very often. But this is something that just has been weighing heavily on my mind because the question comes to mind. And I want to know your thoughts, so please comment down below. Do you guys think pastors should be millionaires? You know, ministers of the church, should they be millionaires? And if so, I want to know why should they be millionaires? And I get it. Some may ask, hey, what they do on their own time in investing, hey, that works. But I guess the real question would be, what message are they preaching though? You know, are they preaching a message of prosperity, and is that right? Or are they preaching just God's word to the congregation? So I have to help me form my own opinion on this, because that's literally what I'm going to share with you guys. So take it for what it is. I apologize if I offend any of you out there, but you know, this is what Comfort in Chaos is. We have these uncomfortable conversations because there's always something to learn. And I want to learn your guys' thoughts and your opinions on this. So I personally think that the preaching of prosperity, I don't think that's right. It doesn't feel right. When I walk into these giant churches, you know, where they have multiple services, 5 services scheduled throughout the day, and it's almost like you're going to class, you know. And I get it. The purpose is there, and it feels good to see them having that outreach to so many people and people just going to church. That's a good thing. But what type of content are they getting? Are they getting a type of conviction, or are they just getting a type of substantiality? They're feeling, it's a feeling that they need. They're getting their fix, and then they go about their normal life, and then they come back again next Sunday for their 35-minute class, and boom, leave feeling good again. It's not my place to judge, nor do I judge, but my opinion is it just doesn't feel right. Being a man of faith and how my faith has been with me and the situations it has got me through, it lets me know just how the benefits of that and having that belief. But getting that, going to these churches where the message is prosperity, it takes me back to, like, there's a story in the Bible where Jesus literally walked through the temple and started flipping stuff over, you know, and was angry, legit angry. And it made him very angry because they were tarnishing his father's house, you know, and they were making money. They were using it to basically make money. That was like that prosperity message. I feel like it ties into that. When I see it more from a leader standpoint, as a minister, you're a leader. You're a spiritual leader. You're a leader in faith. You are like the platoon sergeant for God. He has that hierarchy and that chain of command, and you are in that hierarchy. And you're the platoon sergeant. And as that minister or a platoon sergeant, you have a role and responsibility. And that's what you got to own. So is your role and responsibility to preach this message of abundance and prosperity? Or is it to just preach God's love and demonstrate it? Be an example of it. You know, be that one, that leader that they can go to and ask questions. Be approachable. It shouldn't be where you got 3 assistants and they got to schedule months in advance just to even have a sit down with you, or you have assistants and assistant preachers who have to do all that work for you and you just do the one, like you're the front man, you know, of a corporation, a non-taxable corporation. And knowing all that, it just doesn't sit right with me. It just doesn't. I always like to think of it as like this. You know, you can pray to God. We can pray and ask God, God, give me $20. Okay. Now, does that mean that God's going to have $20 fall from the sky and just magically land on your front porch? I mean, it's not impossible, but does that mean that's what's going to happen? Or would it be where you're going out one day and you're checking the mail and you're really hoping that you get that $20, and then you run into your neighbor Bob, you know, the old man Bob who lives across the street, and he's talking about how he's trying to find somebody to cut his grass for $20. Now, there's a lot that gets applied to that. I see it as like, one, you were in tune to identify the opportunity that the good Lord has put in front of you. And then 2, you were able to do the work that God required of you to gain and earn that $20. So long story short, maybe he's not going to give you that $20 out of the sky, but maybe what he's going to give you is an opportunity to earn that $20. Because when you earn it, then he knows how much more you're going to hold tight to it and respect it and honor it. I like to think of it that way. And when I see these millionaire ministers and they're doing all these book tours and on these talk shows and TV cameos and podcasts, and they have 10 assistants and 10 assistant pastors, and you really can't even, like, you'll be lucky to even get them to answer a phone call, you know, especially if you're really in need. They need a platform if they're going to talk to you. And to me, that's wrong. That's not what, I mean, when you look at the story of the Bible, you know, you look at what Jesus was doing, and I mean, he was walking amongst the people. He was with the poor, you know, everybody who was neglected by society, he was there. And I think now we're even more of a time for that because people are just so dire for a purpose. They don't even know what their purpose is. And so they long for it, and they're looking here and they're looking here and they're scrolling and they're trying to find their purpose, and they can't find it. So what do they turn to? They turn to these ministers who have these large platforms. But my only question would be, is what is the message you're truly articulating? And I'm not knocking them all, because I know there's some good ones out there, guys. It's just when it comes to the idea of a minister who is showing this example of prosperity and abundance, and then therefore that becomes their message, that's where I start to think, okay, this is wrong. I know you guys have seen the videos. There's been ministers who literally lock the doors until they achieve a certain goal of their tithe and offerings. Like, they literally, it's like they were not going to let nobody leave the congregation until they got $10,000 of their offering for the day. And to me, that's the wrong answer. Like, that, what message are you articulating there? I'll tell you what, if I went to a church like that, bro, let them lock the doors on me for that. No way. See you later. This is the last time I'm coming to this church. But it's just one of those things that really just hit my mind. And I am trying right now. I'm trying to set up. I do know some ministers and some pastors in my network, and I'm trying to reach out, and I'm trying to set up where I can actually sit down and pull them in an episode and engage this very topic, because I am curious. And you know me, guys, I'm going to ask those questions, and I want to hear their thoughts and their perspective and hear it from that boots on ground assessment, because I don't know everything. And you and I both don't know everything. Until we walk a mile in their shoes, then we'll know. So, but this is something that's been on my mind. It was triggered off that Logan Paul podcast, Impaulsive, guys. He interviewed Joel Osteen. If you guys don't know anything about Joel Osteen, he's this, I mean, we're talking #1 book deals. He's been all over. He's been on TVs. He's been on movie cameos. He's got one of the biggest churches, I think, here in Texas. And it's weird. It just doesn't, you know, you look at him and you see his makeup and fancy glamour, and I'm just like, dude, that's not somebody I can follow, you know? I don't know. It's just me. It's my opinion, guys. Sorry. But hey, at least the good thing is people are going to church. Okay, hey, go to church. Definitely. But I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time, but you know what? I'm a man of faith, and I believe strongly in my faith. And I am curious, though. I mean, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below, guys. This isn't a long video, but let me know. Should ministers be millionaires? And should their message be prosperity and abundance? Is that something that should be preached and taught to the people of today? Should that be taught to the people who are yearning for God's love, yearning for that openness and that purpose? I'm curious to know your thoughts. So please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. All right. Until next video, guys. Hey, continue to find comfort in your chaos, guys. Do your push-ups, take your vitamins, drink your water, and I'll see you on the next video.